don't know whether I am live. Yes, I am. Okay. Okay. I'm on. Sometimes it goes quick, sometimes it doesn't. I am now at chapter 12 of Life in Spirit, which is Harry Edwards' account of the afterlife. He was in 1976. Harry Edward was a renowned healer throughout the world, and he was also an author, and he had a beautiful sanctuary in Surrey, and he wrote a lot of descriptions of heaven and so on. And this is the story of John and Mary, he says in the sleeve notes. Any John, any Mary, brother and sister, husband and wife, sweethearts, friends. The story of you and me, but with this different. John and Mary have died and have entered into their new life in spirit. So this is now chapter 12. I've read all the others and uploaded on my BitChute. And I'm starting this chapter entitled Visit to an Art Gallery. Visiting one of the colleagues of painting, John was to observe a new appreciation of spirit values. The first display he and Mary saw was a collection of very simple colored tones and design. A teacher, noting their interest, joined them as they were looking at illustrations of the color yellow. The teacher took them to the first picture of the yellow color. It was a heavy tone, but very dull and flat compared to its neighbors. The teacher explained, "Here we have tried to portray the brightest yellow we can. It is devoid of feeling, but even this is an improvement to the use of this color on Earth, that can be nothing more than a pigment possessing a physical molecular structure. It possesses no life or personality of itself. Earthly paintings give to the eyes shape and undefined abstractions. Within the limitations of the spectrum, and while many are fine examples of portrayal of historical events, they cannot possess any feeling of themselves or consciousness of the event they are portraying. For instance, if the painting be of flowers, they are seen to be flowers with flat colors according to the artistry of the painter. They do not convey a sense of living, of perfume, of radiance and kinship with those whose progress in life has reached a stage where an appreciation of the artist's love for his subject is embodied in the presentation." The teacher continued, "Come and let us look at some other samples of the theme yellow." Going forward from one shade of yellow to another, the teacher called a halt after they had reached the 6th shade. He let Mary continue to the 8th shade, and then he said, "Did you not notice as you passed from shade to shade a greater beauty and attraction?" "John did," he said, and Mary agreed. John commented, "As I passed from one to the next, so I learned, so I seemed to be like them more, and they seemed to be like me more. They shone out more clearly, and I felt I wanted to stay with them." This pleased the teacher, for he said, "That is good, for it shows in the short time you have been in this life, you have made good progress to reach this stage of appreciation, and Mary too. You're becoming conscious of the artist's purpose of placing his personality within the colors, so that it would speak to you. This is only the beginning. You have to travel further yet, but it should be a long and happy way before you can realize the fullness of thought that one of our master painters can bring to the mind of an observer as he intended. Indeed, you would by then have attained wisdom that would equal the spiritual consciousness of the master. Let us go and see some simple examples." A little further on they came to a section portraying pictures of things. The first one was that of a colored ball resting on a surface. The colors were indefinite, but on closer inspection could be seen to be composed of many hues of different colours, interwoven within each other. Looking at the ball, Mary said, "Look, it is coming alive. I can now see all shades of colour within it. They change into each other. Now it is changing from the palest to the loveliest fullness of pink, and as this fades down, so is the coming of blue." John chimed in, "I can see that too, but the ball looks as if it's going to roll, but it does not." "This will explain to you much more clearly what I have already told you," said the teacher. "Before the painter commenced to paint the ball, he had first to see within his mind the thoughts he wished to convey, the movement of the ball, and the ever-changing living colours it would present. Thus, the conception of the ball had first to be created within his mind. As you are aware, the materials we use are sensitive to the purpose of their usage, and so it is with the paints. You, Mary, became more strongly conscious of the artist's desire to convey a blending of many colours within this sphere, while John, seeing this too, but not so strongly, was much more impressed with the desire for movement." The teacher went on to say, "Great earthly painters arriving in this new dimension found they could not express themselves in paintings for their art of portraying physical tones and objects which had no reality in spirit life. A simple example of this was the effort to emphasize a three-dimensional thing by the use of a shadow, light and dark, through the application of shaded tones. But these became interferences, for they could only give a flat pigment invasion of an unreality, for without a light center there can be no shadows. Have you not seen there are no shadows anywhere? They would, however, soon appreciate the simplicity of spirit painting once they reached an understanding of the laws governing energy purposes, as they could now be expressed in their painting. Then the artist's hands, being the instrument of the mind, can portray the mental consciousness of attunement with spirit values in his pictures, and so replacing dull earthly tones and materials with living thoughts and intentions. The next picture showed a single bloom of a buttercup. At first glance, but as the mind attuned to it through the eyes, the conscious mind became alert to its revealing quality. The buttercup became alive. It was no longer just a painting, but a living blossom from which shone its radiance and beauty of sheen. It seemed as if it came out from the canvas, inviting the beholder to take it in its fingers. The teacher let John and Mary be entranced for a while, pleased to note how they were able to be in affinity with the flower and the one who painted it. Then he spoke. "You have done well, so soon, to learn your first lesson in how to approach the art of painting. Should you ever desire to paint? The value of the buttercup painting is to illustrate how intimately close the artist must have been with the flower, to know its soul and its spiritual perfection before he was able to paint so perfect a picture. The artist most likely spent a long time, if that can be measured, letting his inner self merge with the essence of buttercup life. Come back and see this buttercup after a further period of stay, and it will appear to you far more beautiful and living, for by then your sense of appreciation and awareness of the thoughts and intentions of others will be all the more sensitive and absorbing, and this buttercup would be more individually brighter, presenting a radiance and living personality that you can appreciate now." With a suspicion of a smile, he went on, "I have just one more picture for you to see." A little distance away was a framed picture, occupying a solo position on a wall. As they drew close to it, they saw the picture frame, but over it was draped a cloth, hiding what lay underneath. "Observe it closely," urged the teacher. John and Mary did so, wondering what kind of picture the cloth hid. After a while, the teacher asked, "What do you see?" "What can I say?" said John. "I cannot see the picture. It is covered over. Can't we take the cloth away?" Then Mary was asked what she saw, and a full smile came across her face as she said, Before I saw what was under the wrapping, I tried to get an impression of the subject from looking into the artist's mind to see what the subject was. An object, a flower, an animal, or what? And I could not help but sense a feeling of merriment, as if I was sharing a joke. So I looked closer and I saw the answer, what the painter had intended. I could see then, and see it for what it was. Well, said John, what is it? Still smiling, Mary told John to go and look underneath the wrapping. So John walked towards the picture and put his finger out to take hold of the wrapping, when he too began to get the spirit of the picture, and he laughed. Turning to the teacher, he laughingly said, "It fooled me. The covering is the painting." The teacher joined in the laughter, congratulating Mary on her not being content to accept the outwardly obvious, but to sense the spirit value of things which held their interest. The teacher then said, "I'm going to leave you, for I have taken you as far as you can go for the present. You have made good progress. Go back and look at the colors, and then the pictures you have seen, and then some more. Absorb more of their meaning and make a fuller acquaintance with all the colors the pictures can teach you, and then later on we will travel on a little further. As this takes place, you will find colors will have an energy and exultancy which as yet you cannot feel. These are new colors which your eyes have not yet seen. These you will see as your mind appreciations become stronger. Indeed, it is said there is no limit to the expression of the higher values of life's purpose, and no limit to the horizon of spiritual endeavor. Paintings will speak to you. Your emotions will be overshadowed by greater ones. Pictures will portray not only beauty but evil too, more intensely than any evil mind can create, for it is the way in which goodness, in the conflict between good and evil, sees evil for what it is, and this is even more forbidding than the evil it sees in itself. In the pictures you will see portrayed the glory of the understanding soul, reaching out to merge with the divine perfection which is God. This is alone seen by those who have progressed to accept a spiritual code of values to the level reached by the painter. That was chapter 12. Chapter 13 is entitled The Nurseries of Heaven. I hope you have a good Tuesday. The sun's shining. Bye-bye.